What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news and updates. And in this one we get further info from Bungie regarding upcoming free weapons that'll be handed out on the 19th of November. That's the same day that we'll get Act 2 for Revenant, so we'll discuss that a little bit. And then we get additional new details regarding Destiny Rising, where apparently there will be Sparrow racing. And I'm sure that will go down well among Destiny players, given that we don't have it in Destiny 2. So we'll discuss what we know about that and a handful of other items today. As always guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, but without further delay, let's get into it. And firstly, a few updates from Bungie here. Just the other day, they announced that starting November 19th, Vesper's host will offer double drops for encounter and activity completions, and that affects all of the legendary rewards, weapons and armor. At the same time though, Banshee will get an update with a small collection of weapons available with curated perks. And as we can see on screen, some of those are pretty juicy. It includes a chill inhibitor with Envious Arsenal and Bait and Switch, as well as Indebted Kindness with Loose Change and Vault Shot. So there's some nice stuff, but DMG confirmed no glimmer or material costs will apply to these. They are intended to be free, and the only ones that have any limitations are the ones that are dungeon related, which require a completion of the dungeons, so we don't even have to purchase them. DMG said that this is a unique event though, in terms of rewards. It isn't intended as a test, and they don't have specific plans to do anything similar again, but it's a make good related to the bug with weapon RNG, so keep that in mind. On to a few other updates from Bungie though, and they say with regards to the yesterday's question legendary hand cannon, we've identified the underlying issue where the Headseeker perk was not functioning properly, and while non-precision damage would appropriately trigger increased aim assist, the precision multiplier was not being granted appropriately, so they've got a fix planned for the Act 2 patch on November 19th. Obviously only affects a specific role, but good to see it being changed. They also confirmed in the comments on that one that the perk weighting fix for weapons is now live in the game. That dropped in the update yesterday. There have been questions regarding Tether though, and of course that's still disabled in Vesper's host. And the Bungie team said we're aiming for the mid-season patch, which will drop in a couple of weeks' time. So it looks like November 19th, when Act 2 drops, will indeed be the mid-season patch for Revenant. And as Bungie have indicated with other fixes they've announced, it looks like that update could be reasonably substantial. So we'll see what else they talk about on that front. But additionally, they recognise problems where Knockout, Offensive Bulwark, Roaring Flames, and other melees are actually bugged. And Bungie say we're aware of the issue and we're currently working on a fix for a future update, but we'll make sure it gets added to the known issues list for awareness. And so those are all the additional updates from Bungie today. And otherwise, given that Garden of Salvation can now drop weapons from its secret chests, Roadrunner did point out that players can now get Garden of Salvation gear without ever actually doing an encounter, and this is done by getting out of bounds and accessing certain chests inside of the raid. Of course, that's previously been possible with things like Last Wish. Certainly isn't the fastest way to get rewards, but I'll link that thread down below if you fancy trying to get out of bounds and grab any of those chests. Lastly though, a very quick mention of some stuff related to Act 2. We know that we're getting an activity called the Tomb of Elders, and from early details that have been data mined, it looks like it's going to have a lot of different bosses, many of them returning from D1, but also some new ones, as well as a challenge version that has modifiers that give better or worse rewards depending on performance. So it looks like it will be quite an interesting activity potentially. There is a big question at the moment regarding the rewards though. There are some weapons for Revenant which haven't yet been released. I'm sure we'll get some of that stuff with Act 2, but there are tonics and materials associated with Tomb of Elders, like the tonic of vintage tomb weaponry, and that's interesting. There's one for normal tomb weaponry as well. So it does beg the question, what is vintage tomb weaponry? And I have seen some speculation, potentially Bungie could tap into some of the Tangled Shore loot table. There was a shot in one of the trailers as well that showed an area that appeared to be on a sort of Dreaming City Tangled Shore themed zone. And this is pure speculation, but I guess the other possibility for vintage tomb weaponry could be reprised weapons from D1. Bungie haven't confirmed that to be the case, so it isn't necessarily likely to happen, but some of the old Prison of Elders weapons were certainly very cool. Otherwise, I guess it will be things that are already in the game, or the new weapons that'll be brought out with Act 2. It's certainly a great opportunity to bring back some juicy rewards though that would excite players, I'm sure. Give us your thoughts in the comment section. And for a quick mention of important dates remaining for Revenant right here, look into the roadmap again for November 19th. We'll be heading into Act 2 of Revenant, so that's when we'll get that new activity with Tomb of Elders. And it'll also be the mid-season update, as Bungie have indicated, so look out for those free weapons on Banshee and the double rewards from Vesper's host. The following week though, on November 26th, is when we'll see the return of Iron Banner for the first time in this episode. So Iron Banner's got a new rocket sidearm, a stasis one, which looks pretty juicy. Additionally, it gets new armor this time around and other updated weapon rewards. And then following that, we'll head into a couple of slightly quieter weeks ahead of the Dawning, but the Dawning is anticipated to be either the 10th or 17th of December. And on top of new armor, cosmetic rewards and things like that, the Dawning also gets a new weapon, which this time will be a linear fusion rifle. And following that, we'll probably have a quieter sort of holiday period as we head into New Year, but soon after that, we'll be heading into Act 3, which will drop on the 7th of January 2025. And based on what we know, Act 3 will have the exotic mission, Kel's Fall, with a new exotic weapon and other updates which Bungie will hopefully give us a bit of a preview of ahead of time. So, as always with episodes, there'll be the livelier weeks and the quieter weeks. And following that, in February, we'll get the third episode for the year in the form of Heresy, where we're going to be returning to the Dreadnought in some capacity. So, that's going to be pretty interesting. Lastly, let's speak about Destiny Rising very briefly. Destiny Bulletin shared here. After years of anticipation, Destiny fans are finally getting the beloved Sparrow racing mode back, but it won't be in Destiny 2. And JP Deathblade originally shared this, but it actually appears on Destiny Rising under the Events tab, and we can see Sparrow racing, and it shows up as a mode that will appear at certain times, so it isn't always available in the game. But it is a 6-player mode, and it says this one takes place on Jiangxi Metro. There's actually some gameplay right here of free roam in this space on a Sparrow. I haven't actually played Destiny Rising, as there are limitations on where it's available. I know players have worked around that, but very interesting that it's going to appear in the mobile version, and I think there would be a lot of excitement amongst Destiny players to get SRL back, of course in the main game, so this may actually apply a bit of pressure on Bungie to bring it back. So we'll have to see. Otherwise, there was also some reporting about AI voice lines appearing in the game. Some of them are actually pretty funny, but the Destiny Rising dev team said, "We've noticed a little confusion over the placeholder AI-generated voiceovers in the build of the game." And they do say they are indeed placeholders and will be changed in the final build, as this is currently a very early version. So very much a work in progress by the sounds of it. I'd love to hear from you guys though, if you played it yet. What are your opinions about it so far? I'm not sure we've learned much more about microtransactions and things like that and how that will play into the game yet, but that's probably something that we'll see further down the road when it's closer to a full release. Share your experiences in the comment section though if you have played it. And otherwise, for today, that's what we have to speak about. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, a rating below really helps us on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed if you want to see more Destiny content. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.